Hello, hello. Welcome to another follow-up Friday, our Success Scopes here. When we come at the end of the week here and kind of wrap things up. Hello, I see Carolyn Farron is always the first to join us. Oh, you guys are back to back today. Carolyn Farron and Cindy. Thanks guys for both being here. I know there's a lot of other people that are out there watching from their computers, their desktops, their laptops, so hi to you as well. For those who I can't see your names when they pop up on the screen, thank you so much for being here with us as we kind of end our week together. It's been a crazy but exciting fun week here for me and for my business, Infinity Coaching. For those of you who don't know me, if you're watching for the first time, my name is Carolyn Owens, and I am the chairwoman and CEO of Infinity Coaching Incorporated, where we help you up-level your skills so you can up-level your income. And so we try to be here every Monday and Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern. And on Monday, we give you some tips and strategies that you can implement and use throughout the week. And then on Friday, we come back, check in, see how your week went, throw in a few more, tips, strategies there, and kind of wrap up the week, send you off to an exciting, fun, awesome, blessed weekend. So again, happy to be here. If you like what you hear, you like the things we're saying, please tap the screen, show us some love, give us some hearts there. And you can always go scroll down and share the broadcast on your Twitter feed there. But thanks again. I appreciate you guys whenever you're here. So thanks so much. Like I said, this has been such a wonderful, blessed, exciting week. I talked in the earlier scope about some good news, and I'm in an opportunity where I'm getting paid for writing articles, and I was able to see the end of month report and everything that happened. So that has been a true blessing. When I thought about it, it's like writing is something I've always really wanted to get into, wanted to do since I was, I thought back as far as 11 years old. So it's been an awesome, blessed week to be able to have that happen. And I was able to show a couple other people how they can do the same thing, coaching them through the process. So not only what I learned was a blessing for me, I was able to share it with someone else. And if you want to find out about it, definitely shoot me an email at cowens@infinitycoaching.net, and I can show you the same process I use and how you can also, by using that process, get paid for writing articles. It is so awesome. I love it. And then the other thing that I've been blessed to be able to, with the writing, I also love to teach. I love to facilitate discussions. And I was, a couple weeks ago, I was on an HR panel for a group, and I was asked back this week and was able to actually do some trainings, facilitation. And we went over vision boards and how that plays there. It's in the career development. They're out of work and they're all looking for jobs. And the thing is, they're all over 50, and a lot of them have been out of work for a couple of years. So it was awesome to go see them again, interact with them, talk about vision boards, kind of tied to everything that they've been learning. And I'll be able to go back in another 2 weeks to do some more training. So that's when you have a week full of two of the things you love to do most, being able to teach, being able to write articles, just a true blessing. So I say that because if you have your goals or things that you've been thinking about that you wonder, when is it going to happen? And, just don't give up. The things will come your way. It all comes into place. And I'll show you, I've been able to, you hear me talk about my free community all the time, so I got to give a shout out to one of our community members. She designed these awesome postcards for me, if you can see them. I think they're so great. And that talks about the free community. And I was able to drop them off to one of the businesses I deal with here in my local area, who's been asking for me to put them in her store. So I was very happy with how these turned out. So shout out to Ashley. And you could, if you're in the community or you want to find out more how you can connect with her and the different things that she does, the community is infinitycoaching.net/community, or if you email me, then I can connect you guys together. But we've been talking here on our scopes about sleep deprivation, and how oftentimes we're in denial and we don't see the impact that sleep deprivation has on our lives, on our relationships, our career, our business. And we talked about the signs, we talked about the impact, and now we've been talking about the strategies. But this week I also learned, I had to go for my doctor checkup, and one of the things that we learned there, when you talk about when they're going through asking you questions and everything, if they're considering, okay, if there's tests they want to do or different things that doctors are thinking about, sleep is a major part of it. They're talking about how if you have sleep apnea, insomnia, it can actually impact the test you would need, or the procedures or things that they're able to do for you. So we were having a conversation about it, because she knows that was one of the things that I've been talking about is sleep deprivation, and she has had to kind of postpone stuff at time with the patients she had, just because that there was a concern of being able to put them under with sleep apnea and how severe their situation is, and so it really impacts us more than we realize. And so, sorry, I was checking to see a message here. But it impacts us more than we realize. And so after we talked about some of the the signs and the impact, we started talking about the strategies. Because a lot, you probably know people who are taking a lot of medications and different things, and often if they just begin to adjust their sleep patterns and get more sleep, they can start coming off of some of those medications. So we started talking about some natural remedies and strategies that will help you get more sleep. And I'm not just talking about laying in bed and restless and everything. I'm talking about truly getting some sleep. And we talked about, I'll just kind of recap them real quick. We talked about, are you going to bed early enough? So if you got to get up at 5:30 in the morning, are you going to bed at 2:30, 3:30, where you're only getting 2 hours of sleep? Because after a while, that's going to drain on you. And you can imagine how grumpy you are being, as far as, how you're relating to other people and communicating. Putting your work away about an hour, 2 hours before you go to bed. You got to let your mind wind down, or else when you'll be laying down, you'll be thinking about all that stuff has to do with work. It'll be processing, and it's been proven that what you're thinking about 45 minutes before you go to bed is what stays on your mind, like it's unconsciously how you're sleeping. And so what I recommend a lot is before you go to bed, meditate, or biblical meditation, focus on, have some soft music playing, or you can also, if you have a vision board or you have a vision journal, look at it just before you go to bed, like that 45 minutes before, and get that image in your head about those things that you desire for your life, and have that going through your head at night. Avoid watching TV or using your computer in the evening just before you go to bed. Same thing, about an hour, 2 hours before you want to shut it off. And keeping consistent with your bedtime, that you're not going up and down, you're getting up this time, going to bed this time. I found that that's what I did this summer. I didn't have a lot of structure in my sleep patterns, hours I was working, and so when it came time for my son to go back to school, that adjustment was so hard for us. And I know that's something I could have easily controlled, and I didn't. So, and then I know that was like we talked about the first few. The other one was don't drink any fluids within 2 hours before going to bed, because if that way you're not getting up in the middle of the night to use the restroom. So if you think about 2 hours before. And that was the first few that we talked about. But I realized last week I didn't share with you the affirmation of the week. So I'm going to go ahead and share it with you now, so you can think about it throughout the weekend. And the affirmation was, relaxation is my doorway to peace, productivity, and motivation. So it's relaxation is my doorway to peace, productivity, and relaxation. So that gets back to that whole thing about we're in this fast-paced, overwhelmed world where we have so much coming at us all the time, and you have to spend time just simply relaxing and unwinding, especially at the end of your day, because that's going to kind of take some of that stress off you. It's going to get you re-energized, rejuvenated for that next day. But as you're winding down and you're letting that stress go away, as much as you can, that's going to allow you to kind of sleep better at night as well. So that was the affirmation that I focused on this week, and go ahead and think about that throughout the weekend. And then there were a couple more that I threw out there for you, a couple other strategies. And one very important one that we don't think about, especially for African Americans, is sun exposure. You know, a lot of African Americans have a vitamin D deficiency. And so let's get some natural sunlight. A lot of us also have been working in offices where especially if they're the older buildings, where there's no windows, no exposure. So we sit in this darkness all the time. So melatonin it responds to, it helps control your sleep and your wake cycles. So if you're not getting it, your body thinks that you're in darkness all day long, and it doesn't appreciate the difference between, you know, when it's light, when it's daytime, and when it's nighttime. And so it's not having that optimum melatonin production. So you really need to think about how getting just, you know, 15 minutes, the first morning sunlight is the best. If you can just, you know, take a walk, or if you're going to work, park your car a little bit further away. But that 15 minutes of true natural sun exposure does have a major impact on us. The other one was thinking about environment in your bedroom, the temperature of your bedroom. A lot of people sleep better when it's cool, but you got to remember you don't want it too hot or too cold. So they say the average temperature is about 65 to 70 degrees. You'll be able to feel and know the difference as you kind of adjust it throughout the night and find out what's best for you. And it may be that you have it one temperature during the daytime, and then you either have to turn it down or up at night. So kind of moderate that, see what works best, how it impacts you, and you will feel the difference. Because there's a lot of people who wake up just hot in the middle of the night because they're not thinking about regulating that temperature. And are you sleeping with the TV on? There's blue lights that emit from the TV, and also the flashing scenes, especially if you're watching, it's a high action shot that's on, and it's affecting your brain and stimulating it. And you may not think, well, my eyes are closed, but that blue light that's being emitted does affect your body. It affects that melatonin production in your sleep and wake cycles. So that's something else to think about. And also, if you have your laptop and cell phone in the room, it has a blue light that's emitting there too, so you have to think about that. If you're getting up in the middle of the night, you don't want the blue light or the bright lights. Have a low wattage light bulb that's either a yellow, an orange, or a red that's more softer, and it has to do again with how it stimulates the brain. So you want to have that and say a night, and if you use a night light, be kind of careful, because there's some that if you put the wrong wattage light bulb in it, they've been known to start fires. So definitely make sure if you have a night light that you're putting the right light bulb in there. And I also mentioned salt lamps. I showed you mine last week, but they emit that perfect kind of night light that you want. I love the one that we have. We have one of the taller ones, but they also make them all different sizes, and they're pretty easy to find. But they also, my doctor previously, one of them had told me about, they have these dimmers for your cell phones and your laptops. They're just apps that you can download that will kind of gradually soften it and turn it down as you're going to sleep. So if you forget to turn it off and you have that app set, that's definitely something good that'll be able to, you know, dim it down for you. And I think the last one we mentioned was the fitness tracker, because I remember Cindy telling us that she used hers to monitor her sleep pattern and realized she had too much activity. She wasn't getting any sleep. But if you have those fitness trackers, wear them at night and see what is your pattern, how is it tracking for you. And if you have sleep apnea, you'll have the CPAP machine. Cindy said, yep. If you have a sleep apnea and you have the CPAP machine, that's tracking your sleep pattern for you. But those are the ones that we kind of went over this week. And the question that I posed to you is to think of, how would you feel if you could get enough rest every night? You know, how rejuvenated and refreshed would you feel every morning? Do you think you'd be more productive? Do you think you'd be able to communicate better? You know, if you're not getting enough sleep and you're showing up at work or your business, and a lot of times if you're kind of off balance, and we talked about some of that impact and about how you're communicating, people will be thinking you don't know how to do your job, you know, that you don't know how to have the conversations that you need to have. So you got to start thinking about that. Something is what seems as so small as adjusting our sleep pattern can really, really make a difference in our productivity, and how we live up to our full God-given potential. So that kind of wraps up the conversation that we had this week. I know a couple people have messaged me or mentioned some things that they've been trying, a few of the different things, or they actually set goals this week that were around getting better sleep, because they really, after they've stopped and thought about it, have realized the impact. So I encourage you to do the same. And we will be back on Monday at 2 p.m. Eastern, where we're going to wrap up the conversation. This is a holiday weekend for a lot of people. It's Labor Day. And so, most people, there's a lot of people that will think, I won't say most, that it's the shopping weekend. But Labor Day was actually, it was for the workers. It was a holiday created for workers. I think, what did they call them? They say a day for the people. An opportunity where you should really think about getting some rest. It's a perfect time. We're celebrating all the hard work that you do. There's some people who don't get to take off this weekend. But find time, some downtime for you to relax, laugh, have a good time, and just enjoy yourself. And again, I said we'll be back here Monday, 2 p.m. If you want to keep the conversation going, join us in our Facebook group, the Infinity Coaching Community. It's a free Facebook group where we got a lot of professionals there, business owners, career professionals, nurses. Cindy's a nurse, so one of her other colleagues that's there, Diana Smith, is also a nurse. But we all over the country, all over the world, people participating in the group. So join us, and you can go again to infinitycoaching.net/community. That gives you a direct invite. I do kind of send you a quick message to say, hey, kind of find out why you want to join the group. And the other way to find out what we do in the group is to go to infinitycoaching.net/free-community. And Cindy just said, yes, versatile group, because it is very much a diverse, versatile group. So again, I appreciate you all for being here for another episode of Success Scopes Follow-Up Friday. And again, I'll have a wonderful, blessed weekend. See you Monday. And until then, here's to your success. See ya.